The Global Impact of the United States of America's Culture by me, Ben Holman. All right, let's get into it. So, aspects of American culture, material and non material. So, first, what is material culture? Material culture are all physical human creations. Non material culture are intangible human creations, includes beliefs, norms, and values. The reason why I bring up them is because those two together actually create a complete culture. Now, within the three topics I have here, which is core values plus history, media and entertainment plus tech, consumer culture, and food, those three have each of them in all of them. So, yeah, let's hop right into it. Core values plus history. So, individual freedom slash independence. Now, the product of individual freedom slash independence is diversity because people come here from all over the place. So they're able to practice what they want to practice. So they're able to be who they want to be. So they're able to say the things that they want to say. Then we have capitalism, another very, not necessarily important, I guess, yeah, you could say important aspect of American culture. So you can choose what job you want to do, obviously. You can start your own business. There's less regulations on it compared to different types of economic systems. And then that goes to the opportunity, the American dream, kind of just to achieve success in your own right, to have a family, to, I guess, live a peaceful life to a sense. And as you can see in that picture to the right, we have the Battle of Bunker Hill, I believe, illustrated by, what's his name again? I believe it was John Trumbull or something like that, along with a picture I made, or not made, but I put in there of the American dream. I just kind of wanted to illustrate that, show that we fought for independence, so therefore we are able to live a life of freedom. So then we're going to go to the history aspect of it. So gaining independence from Great Britain. And as time went on, we kind of reinforced those original ideas that we fought for by becoming a more just and right society through the Civil War, Women's Suffrage Movement, and Civil Rights Act. We continue to fight for that independence and democracy within other countries as well. So yeah, that's our core values plus history. Let's go to the next slide. Media and entertainment plus tech. So media and entertainment. So we have social media apps, sports, Hollywood movies, movie streaming services, music slash artists. The reason why America culture and sports and stuff like that was able to spread so much because we dominated. We created very influential and popular sports such as American football and basketball. Social media apps such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Because of them being American apps, obviously it just continues to promote American-like content more. And with that being the most viewed, it's going to pop up on your For You page, therefore making you run into American content. Trends, whether that be fashion or dances or memes, it does have a great impact on society, as that's going to be what you're consuming and what you're referencing, and it causes people to become more connected through that. So yeah, we have like Hollywood movies. We just have a great dominance over media and entertainment. We have people like Michael Jackson, who in his Bad World tour started in Tokyo, Japan, span across 15 countries, and had over 4.4 million attendees. Some of those people did not understand English, but they still went because they were drawn to him because of how popular he was, because everyone was talking about him. We have movie streaming services, therefore we're kind of directing what is shown, what we deem to be able to watch. So then we go into technology. So we have the iPhone, light bulb, airplane, and internet. So we have technology like the light bulb and airplane that obviously were just great innovations of their time, where other countries would use them to become more efficient in whatever they were doing, or just make life more easy. And then in a different sense, we have iPhones and the internet, which kind of accelerated the spread of American culture or media, entertainment, stuff like that. So now we have consumer culture and food. If you look to your right, you have the fast food brands, the most popular ones based off the brands that are most searched. And then we also have the same thing with consumer brands. You can see most, if not all, of the top 5 most searched ones are American businesses. We have things like McDonald's, Nike, Apple, Ford, Coca-Cola, KFC, Starbucks that have places of operation all over the world. And then if you look to your right again, on the bottom you have Yalta, Ukraine, which Dr. K actually went on a business trip, and you can see a Coca-Cola van with a McDonald's right there. A funny story actually is when he was there, when trying to figure out what he could spend his time on, what should he go look at while being there, he asked the person that was there, and they said, well, we have a McDonald's. That just kind of shows you the great influence that American culture, the consumer culture, had on the world back then, even in 2000, I believe he said. And then if you also look to your way more right to the bottom, we have a sprawling coffee empire, which is Starbucks. As you can see, there's over 32,000 locations worldwide, where a great majority of them are, in that Asia area, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, that just shows the influence. I mean, obviously, if a company has American names with American-based drinks, and I know that they do have different ones in different countries, but that's just gonna obviously push you towards the language of the country, or therefore going into the culture, as there's a close tie between the two. How/why American culture spread globally? Well, American culture spread by what is known as culture diffusion through multiple different ways. So what is diffusion? The process by which a cultural item spreads from group to group or society to society. So the four ways that I highlighted here are military and democratic political influence. So this might be either be over countries. I mean, obviously, yeah, we have great militant power. Therefore, when having bases and places of operation in different countries or helping out different countries, it spreads our culture, our language, and things of that matter. And then we have economic power after World War I and World War II. Not saying that we were necessarily in a really peak position coming out of those wars. It's just that we did not have any battles on our home front necessarily, or not that much anyways. With many countries rebuilding, we had to export materials and products to those countries to help them rebuild, in addition to us just being kind of ahead of the game. And we have our just complete dominance over media and entertainment, with, like I said, on the media and entertainment slideshow. And then through that, we have the acceleration to technology and the globalization of businesses. When you have different, like I said on the last slide, when you have businesses all around the world, it just obviously causes you to kind of run into American culture and interact with it. And then you have technology where it accelerates the fusion of those ideas throughout the world. Positive effects / a functionalist perspective. So when looking at this with a functionalist perspective, such a positive perspective, you could say it spreads democratic ideals of freedom to choose and say what one wants, human rights, and individual opportunity. You could say it created a more connected world. It did create more economic opportunities with more business around the world, and it did create technological advancements. Now, a thing I would like to say, and just kind of put in perspective for you, for like creating a more connected world, with social media, for example, a lot of the communication you do is through references of shows, movies, music artists, food. You might be a completely different human being, where, I mean, you could be an art major and this other guy's athlete, two completely different things, but you guys are drawn to a similar show. And therefore, when referencing it, you guys can create a conversation out of that and become friends just because of that aspect. So that's a cool way I like to think about it. So then when looking at the negative impacts of the American culture impact globally, you can look at it through a conflict perspective. So Americanization, right? So that is defined by the action of making a person or thing American in character or nationality. That can be caused through our political or militant power. Then we have culture homogenization. It can even be found within America. So, for example, say your family has a long line of descendants from a country that speaks Spanish, right? Throughout time, you might lose the ability. Your family over time might lose the ability to speak Spanish. It's kind of a threat to diversity. It leads to a loss of cultural identity. It could destroy your ability to speak Spanish because it's not needed. You're in a country that speaks English, so why would you need or want to speak a different language? And then we have things like cultural assimilation, which is similar to that. It's kind of just being pushed, or not necessarily being pushed, but being put into a culture where it's in America, so you kind of just slowly adapt to the language and stuff like that. Exploiting of cheap labor, another very large negative impact of it is with the globalization of these businesses, they're able, when operating in other countries, they're able to pay employees less amounts of money, even if that is more than the regular pay there. It could be way less than what they're paying employees in America, and possibly even take away jobs of Americans as well. So it has moral conflicts and economic conflicts within that as well. Conclusion. Using my sociological imagination, it seems to me America's culture spread rapidly, not only due to our diversity and values, but because of our political and militant power, influence in entertainment and media, along with the globalization of businesses and technology. With such influence, it would both connect the world and bring great innovation, but also cause cultural homogenization and exploit cheap labor throughout the world. So there's obviously positive and negative effects to this situation. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I would appreciate that. And thank you guys for watching. And yeah, like I said, feel free to ask questions. These are my sources that I used. I primarily used just the Chapter 3 culture video and the McGraw-Hill sociology textbook, but I also use a couple different sources, and here are my pictures. Thank you guys for watching.